Hi everyone, welcome to Day's Creations. My name is Day. Today we're going to be making the ruffle bralette that you've all seen, and this is the yarn that I'll be using. It is a size 4 yarn and it recommends a 5.5mm hook. That's a US I9 hook, but I'll be using a smaller hook which is a 4.50mm hook. So feel free to use any yarn of your choice and use the recommended hook, or you can always adjust according to what you want to go for. So here you can see all the details. You're going to need some scissors, and then you're going to need a tape measure, and I think that's it. You'll also need a darning needle to weave in your ends, so have all that with you while we make this cute bralette. I'll be including how many chains you need to make for different sizes. So yeah, let's get started. We're going to start by making a slip knot. So you're going to start by making something like this, which creates this little circle here, and then you're going to insert your hook, and then you're going to pull up the yarn that's on top of the shorter strand. So pull it up, and then you can pull tight, and there you have a slip knot. After that, I'm going to make a chain of 20, and I'll be placing on your screen how many chains you need to make for different sizes. So yeah, check that out, take a screenshot and just follow the instructions. So I'm chaining 20 for my size. So here I have my 20 chains completed. I'm going to add 3 more chains, and this is going to count as our first stitch, the chain 3. So what you're going to do next is count 1 2 3. Like always, I like to turn my chain and work in the back bumps. So yarn over, skip 1. The loop that's on the hook does not count, so start from right here, count 1 2 3, and in the 4th you're going to yarn over and place there a double crochet. So here we have a total of 2 double crochets, and after that you're going to yarn over and you're going to keep making 1 double crochet in every stitch until you have 1 stitch left. Okay, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2, and that's what you're going to repeat until you have 1 stitch left. Okay, I have 2 stitches left. So once you have 1 stitch left, you're going to place there 2 double crochets in that last stitch. All right, so you have 2 in the same space, chain 1, yarn over, and back in that same space you're going to make 2 more double crochets. Okay, so now we have 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, all in the same space. After that you're going to yarn over, and we are now going to turn and work on the opposite side. So you're going to identify the next stitch. This here is my second, this one here is my next. So I'll insert my hook. I'm going to work over this strand. So you're simply going to insert your hook and make 1 double crochet in every stitch until you get to the end. All right, I'm working towards the end. When you get to the end, don't forget the chain 3 here is counting as a stitch, so that is going to be the last stitch you work into. So make sure you place there a double crochet, and that is how you complete the first row. So what you're going to do is count the stitches you have before the chain 1. So you count how many stitches you have on this side and count how many stitches you have on this other side, and they should be the same number of stitches. So for me, I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22. I have 22 stitches here. Then when you skip the chain 1, I have more 22 stitches on the other side. All right, so that's the end of row 1. Row 2, you're going to chain 3, which counts as a stitch, turn your work, and then you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch until you get to the chain 1 space. All right, now I have made it to the chain 1 space, and I'm placing there 2 double crochets, chain 1, back in that same space, make 2 more double crochets. And then you're going to continue making 1 double crochet on top of every stitch here until you get to the end. Okay, so if you have to pull this a little bit, do so you don't skip this first stitch. Okay, once you get to the end, the last stitch is the chain 3. So place there your last double crochet because we need to keep this edge straight. Now row 3, you're going to repeat row 2. Chain 3, turn your work, and make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch until you get to the chain 1 space. So I'm showing you guys one more time, and then I'll do the rest of the camera. So make 1 double crochet on top of the next stitch, 1 double crochet on top of the next, and I'll keep going until I get to the chain 1 space. I have made it to the chain 1 space, and I'm going to place there 2 double crochets, chain 1, then back in that same space make 2 more double crochets like so, and after that you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch until you get to the end. Again, once you have this last chain, you're going to place there the last stitch. You're going to place there 1 double crochet like so, and you're going to repeat this over and over until you have the number of rows that I'm going to place on the screen depending on the size that you have made. So for my case, I'll be making 10 rows, but we're going to make the last row together. So I'll go ahead and make 9 rows, and then I'll start the 10th row, and then I'll meet you guys here around the chain 1 space so I can show you how to work that last row. All right, I'm working on my last row, and like I said, we're doing this last row together. So once you have the 2 double crochets that we have in the chain 1 space, we are going to do something different here. You're simply going to insert your hook in that stitch, then pull up a loop and pull it through. So you're making a slip stitch. Insert your hook in the next stitch and slip stitch. Then in the chain one space, slip stitch. And then slip stitch in the next 2 stitches. And in total here you should be having 5 slip stitches. After that, you're going to yarn over and make a double crochet on top of the next stitch, double crochet on top of the next stitch, and you're going to repeat that until you get to the end. Keep going. I'll meet you guys back here at the end. Okay, I have made it to the end and I have the last stitch left, so I'm placing there my double crochet, chain 1, and I'm going to cut off the yarn. And the reason why I'm cutting off the yarn is because I need to add an extension. You know, for us big girls, we need to cover that the side boob part, and this helps a lot and it gives you the coverage that you need. I need to do that, and I'm considering, looking at the first row, this is going to be the wrong side of my cup. And since we're making 2 of these, I already have 1 completed here, and I have added this extension on this side, and we need this extension on the opposite side of the second bra cup. Okay, you don't want this to be on the same side, so I need this on the other side. So that's why I'm cutting off my yarn, and then I'm going to reattach it on the other side. All right, so as you can see, looking at this last row, I'm supposed to turn my work. So I'm going to attach my yarn from this upper part, and I'm going to count 18 stitches. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 and 18. So I'm going to attach my yarn right there. And with this, since we have made different sizes, you may need to adjust. If your cups are smaller, obviously you're not going to count 18 stitches. You may have to count let's say 6 or 5, depending on the size that you're making, depending on the coverage that you want. Okay, so I have made my slip knot, and I'm going to attach the yarn, and I'll be working over this strand. Chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, and then we're going to make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch until we get to the end. Okay, again, the last stitch is the chain, so place there your last double crochet on top of that 3rd chain, and we are simply going to repeat that row. We're making 1 double crochet on top of every stitch. So I have 18 stitches here, and I'm going to keep it that way. We're not making any increases or decrease, so I'm going to keep it 18 stitches at the end of every row. Chain 3 and turn your work and make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch. This is my last stitch. Chain 3 and repeat. I'm going to keep going until I have 15 rows, starting from here. I'll be counting starting from here until I have 15 rows, and then I'll be back so we can attach the 2 cups together and then do the rest. Okay, see you in a minute. All right, this is my last row. This is my 15th row. And this is what I have. So you're going to make your second cup, which should be identical. Apart from this part, they have to be on the opposite side. So you're going to make 2 of them. I have mine completed here, and we are now going to join them together. All right, so once you have your 2 cups completed, you're going to align them like this. This is the right side. Okay, so now we're going to get this piece and place it on top of the other, and then we are going to join this part. I think I'm going to join about 15 stitches. Okay, so you just have to make sure that you are joining this from the wrong side of your cups. I'm going to insert my hook in the first stitch and in the first stitch of the second cup, like so, and then I'm going to pull up a loop and chain 1, then go back in that same space and make a single crochet. Okay, single crochet on top of the next stitch, making sure you go through both sides. You can also use a darning needle or slip stitch for this part. So I'm going to keep going, making 1 single crochet until I get to the 15th stitch. Okay, this is my 15th stitch. So I'm making a single crochet, and then I'll go back in that same space with a slip stitch, then chain 1. Get your scissors and cut the yarn off. So here we have now attached the 2 cups together, and this is how your work should be looking. So before we make the straps, we need to make the bottom part, and that's what we're going to work on next. So I had my yarn attached to this, and when I'm going to work on this, going to chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, and in this first row you're going to yarn over and make 2 double crochets. Now place there 1 double crochet for a total of 2, so we have 2 double crochets here. Then yarn over, and in the next row you're going to place there only 1 double crochet. So like always, I like to get a little bit from the second stitch, a little bit of yarn from the second stitch, and then make a double crochet. I could go through this like, like make a double crochet like this, but I don't like the gap that it leaves behind. So that's why I like to grab a little bit of a stitch from the second stitch and then make the double crochet. So here we made 1 double crochet. In this next row we're making 2. The next we're going to make 1 double crochet and then make 2 in the next. Make 1 in the next, make 2 in the next. You're going to keep alternating between the 2 double crochets and 1 double crochet over and over, all the way until you get to this other side of your cup. Okay, I have made it to the end, and I have this last row to work into, and I'm placing there 1 double crochet, And then your last stitch, you want it to go right in one of the 2 stitches that we have here at the very end. So it can be this one. So right on top of that first stitch, because we want this line to be straight. Now for the next row, we're going to make a chain of 3, and then we're going to turn our work, and then we're going to make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch until we get to the end. Okay, make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch till you get to the end. The next row is going to be a little different, so I'll be back to show you guys how to work that row. All right, I'm at the end of my second row and I have 2 stitches left here, as you can see. So I'm placing there a double crochet and a double crochet to complete the row. Now the next row is going to be the cross stitch. You're going to chain 3. You always have to start with a chain 3. Turn your work. So here is how the cross stitch works. You're going to yarn over, and instead of working a double crochet in this stitch, next stitch, you're going to skip it and double crochet into the next. And then you're going to yarn over and go back in that stitch that you just skipped and place there a double crochet. So this is our first cross stitch right here, and we're going to do that again. So yarn over, skip a stitch and double crochet into the next, yarn over, go back in the stitch that you skipped and place there a double crochet. And it's that simple. Yarn over, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next, yarn over, go back in the stitch that you skipped and place there a double crochet, and that's what you're going to repeat all the way until you get to the end. All right, I'm working towards the end of my third row. I'm going to skip the next stitch and make my cross stitch right here. Then I'm going to skip this one, double crochet into the next, and then go back and make a double crochet in the stitch that I had skipped. So I now have 1 stitch left, and I'm going to place there 1 double crochet. So you just have to keep in mind that you need 1 stitch at the end. So just in case yours is not, let's say you only have 2 stitches left, you're simply going to make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch. So just ignore making the cross stitch towards the end if yours is not matching with the pattern. Okay, chain 3, turn your work, and then we're going to repeat that again. So I have my double crochet here. I'm going to yarn over, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next, yarn over, back in the stitch that I skipped. I'm going to make a double crochet, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next, then go back and make a double crochet in the skipped stitch, and we are basically going to repeat that. All right, I'm going to repeat this and I'll meet you guys towards the end. Okay, I'm working towards the end and I'm skipping this next stitch, double crochet in the next, and then go back and work in the skipped stitch. And I now have one stitch left and I'm going to place there a double crochet, and there I have complete the row. This stitch is so beautiful, guys. I like the pattern. So the next row is just going to be a row of double crochets, chain 3, turn your work, and for this row you're just going to make one double crochet on top of every stitch. So no skipping, no cross stitch this time. You're simply going to make one double crochet on top of every stitch. I'm now working towards the end. Chain 3, and then you're going to repeat that row again of one double crochet on top of every stitch until you get to the end. And once you get here, you're going to repeat what we did here, the cross stitch. So you chain 3, turn your work, and then make one double crochet on top of every stitch. So work your way to the end and I'll meet you back here shortly. Okay, I'm working towards the end of row 6 and I'm making my last double crochets here. This is my last stitch and I'm placing there a double crochet. So you're going to chain 3 and turn your work for row 7, and this is where we're going to repeat the cross stitch, and we're going to make 2 rows of that again. After your chain of 3, you're going to yarn over and skip a stitch and then double crochet into the next, yarn over, go back in the stitch you skipped and place there a double crochet, yarn over, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next, yarn over, go back in the stitch you skipped and place there a double crochet, and you're going to repeat that pattern until you get to the end. So you're going to repeat this pattern until you get your desired length. I'm going to complete this row and then I'll make 2 more rows of the normal double crochets, and then I'll be back to show you guys what to do next. Okay? Alright guys, I'm back and this is how my work is looking at this point. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And at this point I'm done working on this pattern that we have right here. But if you want to make yours longer, you can go ahead and maybe add another 2 rows of the cross stitch. But for my case, I'm going to stop at this point. And now to seal this bottom part off, we're going to do the picot pattern at the bottom. But before that, I'm going to show you how long it is, and it's 29 inches. And this can stretch all the way to my back. So you want to make sure that this can stretch to your back, because we're not going to have any chains going around to lace it up. We're going to join this at the back once we are done with this part. We're going to chain 1 and turn, and on top of that first stitch you're going to insert your hook and make a single crochet. It's a bit loose, so single crochet in that first stitch, single crochet in the next, chain 4, And you're now going to insert your hook in the single crochet that you made. So we have these 2 loops right here. This is the actual single crochet stitch. So you're going to insert your hook, pull up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all. And you'll have something like this. After that, you're going to skip a stitch and single crochet in the next. Single crochet in the next stitch, chain 4, and then back in the single crochet, you're going to insert your hook through those 2 loops, pull up a loop. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and then you're going to skip a stitch and single crochet in the next. So your work should be looking like something like this. Single crochet in the next stitch, chain 4, and then you're going to insert your hook through that single crochet stitch and pull up a loop, then pull through all, and then you'll skip a stitch and single crochet in the next. And that's what you're going to repeat all the way across. All right, I'm at the end and I have made this, and I now have 1, 2, 3 stitches left. So I'm skipping the next, then making a single crochet into the next, and then the last stitch gets just a single crochet to complete the row. And this is how your work should be looking. Look at that. So now that we're done with that, we're going to join the back together. The reason why I want to join the back of my top is because I didn't really want to have any chains, you know, crisscrossing at the back and all that stuff. I just wanted it to be like a regular top. However, if you want to have that for your top, you can go ahead and just crisscross, make a chain, and then you can crisscross it at the back, but then you'll have to add the mesh pattern or the loops where the chain will come out of, so keep that in mind. But for my case, I'm just going to join it together and then I'll do the straps. All right, so remember, while joining, you have to join from the wrong side of your top. I'm going to insert my hook through this single crochet, and then I'll pull up the loop, this right here, like so. So after the slip stitch, you're going to chain 1, and back in that same space for both sides, you're going to go in with a single crochet, like so. And then the next row, you're going to go through just a little bit of yarn from it. Get a little bit of yarn from it and do the same for the other side. If it's a chain, you just go through the chain. And I'm going to make 2 single crochets in this same space. Then this is the second row, and I'm going to go through the one at the back and make a single crochet, and then single crochet again in the same space. So I'm basically making 2 single crochets in each row. You can also use a darning needle for this part. I think a darning needle would actually be better, but this is also okay for me. So I'll just keep making the single crochets until I get to the top, and then we can do the rest from here. Once you get to this point while joining, you're simply going to make one single crochet in every stitch. Do not make two single crochets like what we did here. We did that because these stitches are long. They didn't have actual stitches, so we were working on the side rows, if I may call them that. So here we have the actual stitches, so just align it very well and make sure that all the stitches are corresponding, and go through them at the same time and make a single crochet until you get to the end. Alright, I have made it to the end and I'm going through the last stitch with a single crochet, and then I'm going back with a slip stitch, back in the same stitch, slip stitch, chain one, get your scissors and cut off the yarn, leaving a long tail that you can weave in later. So this is how the back of my top looks. This is how the right side looks and I love it. All right, now we're going to do the straps. So I quickly went ahead and made my first strap and this is how it looks. We're going to do the second one together and then we shall attach them to the back. Make a slip knot. And then we are actually going to be doing the pattern we made for this part here. That is what I did for the straps. And I really like it, so let's do it. So remember here we had 5 slip stitches. So what you're going to do is insert your hook on top of the last stitch, okay? So in total we're going to have 7 stitches because we're going to start from the first double crochet and end in the last double crochet that we have on this other side. So with the 5 here and then these 2, that makes it to 7. So insert your hook and then attach the yarn. Chain 3, which counts as the first stitch, then yarn over, and in the next stitch you're going to make a double crochet in the next stitch, and you're going to do this until you have a total of 7 double crochets. It's kind of tricky to go through the stitch, but you'll end up doing it. So this is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, here we go. 6, and then the last stitch goes in the double crochet. So we now have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 stitches. Chain 3, turn your work and make 1 double crochet on top of every stitch until you get to the end, and you should have 7 stitches. The next row is where we do the cross stitch. So chain 3, turn your work, yarn over, skip a stitch, and on top of the next you're going to insert your hook and make a double crochet, then yarn over, go back in the stitch you skipped and place there a double crochet, yarn over, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next, yarn over, back to the stitch you skipped, place there a double crochet. And I have 2 stitches left here, so I'm going to go through the first stitch with a double crochet and then go back to the stitch that I skipped and place there another double crochet, and this is what you should have. All right, so just like the pattern, I'm doing 2 rows of the regular double crochets and then doing the cross stitch for 2 rows as well. So chain 3, turn your work, yarn over, skip a stitch, double crochet in the next, yarn over, double crochet in the stitch that was skipped, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next, yarn over, double crochet into the stitch that was skipped, and then this is my last stitch, so I'm placing there a double crochet and then going back to the stitch that I skipped and placing there the last double crochet, another double crochet, and that completes the 2 rows that I needed for the cross stitch. And from there I'm chaining 3 and then making 1 double crochet on top of every stitch, and I'll do this for 2 rows, and then I will go back to the cross stitch. I'll keep repeating this pattern for 25 rows, and once I'm done with that I'll be back so we can chain everything together. Remember to keep your count of 7 stitches so you're not increasing or decreasing anywhere. So I'll be back once I have 25 rows and then we can do the rest. Okay guys, I'm back, and here I have the straps completed for both sides, and we are now going to align them and attach them to the back base. Okay, this is how it's looking. And I also want to mention something. Once we do this edging at the bottom, I recommend that you use a bigger hook, because I see that mine kind of it got a little bit small, but I can still go through it, but I recommend using a bigger hook for this part. Okay, so I just thought I would point that out for you guys. Now we're going to get a darning needle. All right, so now you are going to align it very well with the middle part of your bra cup, and then just see where you want the strap to be attached to. Okay, so for me, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So starting from row 6, 7, 8, and 9, I'll just be attaching it to those rows. And also remember to do this from the wrong side. Okay, I'm skipping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm starting to chain from row 6. Just like this, making sure that it is secured, and that's it. Okay, so once you have attached it, you're just going to go back in with your darning needle and weave in the end and make sure that it won't come out undone. Okay. And once it's secured, you're just going to cut off the yarn, and then you're going to do the same thing we just did here. You're going to repeat it on this other side and attach the strap, and I'll be back so we can do the ruffles, which is going to be optional. If you don't want the ruffles after attaching your straps, you can just wear the top like this, but for me, I want to attach the ruffles to this top. Okay guys, I'm back, and This is how the top looks. If you like, you can leave it like this. Like I said earlier, you don't have to do the ruffles, so the ruffles are optional. But if you do want to do it, let's go ahead and add them. And this is how we are going to do the ruffles. So of course you have your top on the right side, and as you're looking at your bralette, you will see that you have these loops. And as you can see on this next row here, we don't have them, but we have them right here. We're going to insert our hook through these to make the ruffles. Right. We're now going to get our yarn, make a slip knot. Okay. So I'll be starting from the middle and then I'll be working upwards. So I'm skipping this first row, and as you can see, we obviously don't have those stitches that we have to work into, so you're going to leave that. And in this next row, this one here, this here is going to be my first stitch. So I'm going to attach the yarn and I'll start doing the ruffles. So chain 3, which will count as our first stitch, and then in that same space you are going to insert your hook and make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, oh, I'm sorry, that's 3 stitches since the first chain is counting as our first double crochet. And then here we have our next loop that we have to work into. So you're going to insert your hook in that and make 3 double crochets, all in the same space. And you're just going to keep going like that. All right, I'll meet you guys here in the middle so I can show you how to work around that space. Okay, so this is how my ruffle is looking so far, and it's really beautiful. It's not affecting my top in any way, so I love the way it's coming out. Now I'm at this point where we chained 1, and this is before the 2 double crochets. So once you get to this point, you're going to yarn over and you're going to go in that chain 1 space. I hope it's clear. You see that we have 2 stitches and we don't have the loop that we've been doing the ruffles in. We don't have that loop around here. So you can see we have 2 stitches. So you're going to skip them, then yarn over and go between the 4. Okay, go where we chained 1 right there, and you're going to do the 3 double crochets in this space. That's 1, 2, and 3, just like that. Then after that, you're just going to cross over to this side, and as you can see on this side, we have the loops that we have to work into. So you're just going to keep going like that. So yarn over, and then you're going to skip the 2 double crochets and simply insert your hook in the next loop and make the 3 double crochets. and then you're going to keep going like this all the way to the end. All right guys, my first ruffle is done, and I'm just going to chain one, get my scissors and cut off the yarn. So, and now you have to attach the yarn where you want your next ruffle to be. Make a slip knot, count from here, starting from this row, counting 1 2 3, and then I have my loops here, so I'm going to do my row here of ruffle the ruffles, and then I'll do that all the way around. Okay, so this here is my first stitch. Chain 3, which counts as the first stitch, and then in that same stitch you're going to make 2 more double crochets for a total of 3. Then after that you keep going with making 3 double crochets in every stitch. And this is basically what you are going to repeat, so even on the other side of the cup, because everything has to match, right? When you get to the chain 1 space, you're going to do the same thing we did on the first row for the ruffles. You're simply going to insert your hook in the chain 1 space like so, and then you're going to place there 3 double crochets. That's 1, 2, and 3, all in that chain 1 space. And then after that you're simply going to continue making 3 double crochets in every stitch, just like how we started. So in the next stitch, insert your hook and make 3 double crochets, double crochet, and then you're going to keep making double crochets all the way to the end. I reached the end of my second ruffle here, and I'll be cutting off the yarn and then I'll be reattaching it to another row. And then my last ruffle is going to start from here, and then it will stop here where the straps start from. And after that I will reattach my yarn on this side. This is the middle point where we join the 2 cups from, and as you can see we have the stitches here, and I'll be working through those all the way up to where the strap starts from. So I'm going to cut off this yarn, then chain 1, I'll keep repeating the ruffle row. I'm going to do 1 more row for the ruffles on this bra cup, and then I will cut off the yarn, and then I'll get to the other side of the cup, and then I'll do the same thing. So I'll be back once I'm done so I can show you guys the finished look. Alright, if you feel like you need to add in more ruffles, like if you feel like the gaps are too big between the ruffles, you can always fix it by adding another ruffle. It's just that simple. I'll see you back once I'm done. So one side of the cup is done. As you can see, I have 3 rows, and I'm now going to reattach my yarn right here, and then I'll work my way up all the way to where the strap starts from, and I'll be going through this first loop. Okay, I'll just be going through this 1 loop or 1 stitch, and yeah, just like we did with the first cup, and then I'll be back once I'm done with the whole top, guys. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment section, and I'll be happy to respond to you as soon as I can. Okay, thanks for watching. And this is the final look, and I'm happy with it. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, thanks so much for watching. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Don't forget to weave in your ends. Bye bye.